Hi, welcome back to another episode of Your Money Mindset, guiding you to achieve lasting financial freedom and peace of mind. I'm John MacGregor. This is another very important episode, especially if you have parents or grandparents that are still alive, and I sure hope you do. What I'm going to share with you can and will make your life and your family's life so much easier, regardless of what stage of life you're in or they're in. And regardless if you're a young family or an older generation, this resource I'm going to tell you about is a game changer. But first, I want to start with some sobering statistics about women specifically that you need to be aware of. Whether you're a man or a woman, it does not matter. And here they are. Women are expected to live an average of 7 to 10 years longer than men. A married baby boomer woman can expect to outlive their husbands by 15 to 20 years on average. And of the elderly living in poverty, think about this, 3 out of 4 are women. Let me repeat that. Of the elderly living in poverty, 3 out of 4 are women. And 80% of those women were not poor when their husbands were alive. 90% of all women will become the sole responsibility for their finances. Yet 80% of women have not planned for this. And somewhat related to those statistics I just shared, 66% of people will die without a will or a trust. It's an absolute nightmare for families. Believe me, I've seen it so many times. So, 6 years ago to this day, my mom passed away. And it was for the best. And it happened very quickly. Thank goodness. And I'll say, when something like that happens, your life completely turns upside down. Not only from an emotional standpoint and a grieving standpoint, but also from an organizational standpoint as well. And I'll get more into that in a moment. But for many years, my financial practice gravitated towards helping recently widowed women with their financial affairs. And it all started with an estate planning attorney who I knew. And on a frequent basis, one of his estate planning clients would pass away naturally. And statistically speaking, as I mentioned earlier, it's normally the husband that passes away first. And in most cases, it's the husband who's been handling all the financial affairs for the family. And sadly, in my experience, most of the time, the husband does a very poor job managing the money. And there's all kinds of reasons for this. We don't need to get into this right now, but I will just say that the husband most of the time has a very hard time admitting he doesn't know something and that he needs help. And that always ends in a financial disaster. And so what ends up happening is that he ends up passing away, leaving an absolute mess for his surviving spouse, his wife, to figure things out. And so when I got that call from that attorney, he wanted me to help out an 82-year-old woman whose husband left her a financial disaster. At a time when she should be grieving and remembering a wonderful life they had together, instead she was sitting on the floor surrounded by boxes full of documents and statements and paperwork. She didn't know what was what. In the midst of all this, she reached out for my help to help her sort out her finances. In this case, the husband had dementia, which made it even more complicated and frustrating. In fact, I recall we found stock certificates in the freezer. It's because of his dementia. He hid things all over the house. It was an absolute mess. Fortunately, there was his pension, and she was the surviving beneficiary, and they had some equity in the house. But I'll tell you, if it wasn't for those two things, I'm not sure how she would have survived financially. And she quite possibly could have been just another statistic of a woman living in poverty, an elderly woman living in poverty. And based on the financial statements I saw, he completely mismanaged their money, which, as I mentioned earlier, is not uncommon. So for 2 days, we sat in this dark room, very hot, I remember, sorting through paperwork. And as a result of this and getting her organized, more and more people were referred to me to do the same. And I saw similar situations repeated over and over and over again. So, going back to my mom, who for years was scared to death of my dad passing away before her and not knowing how or who was going to manage things on her behalf. Despite the fact I'm in the business, I do this for a living, which to this day is still crazy to me, I don't know. Anyway, she lost sleep over this potential outcome of her being left to figure out where everything was and how to manage the finances. So, to calm her fears, somewhere I got the idea to put together a family resource guide I call the Legacy Book: What to Do Before a Loved One Passes. And it's designed to make sure your loved ones are prepared for when you do in fact pass away. But I will tell you, really, it's for anyone who has dependents, children or grandchildren, regardless of their age. Look, when a loved one passes, in my experience, and I've seen this firsthand multiple times, the details that need to be taken care of by a family member can be particularly overwhelming during such an emotional time. And as I stated earlier, too many times the surviving spouse and the children have had little to no experience in financial or estate planning matters. This resource book is designed to empower people to make informed decisions through organization and proactive communication to their loved ones. And thankfully, my mom filled out quite a bit of the information in that book before she passed. And I'll tell you from memory, one piece of information that we needed in order to get her death certificate was information about her parents. And if I recall, we needed to know where they were born or something to that effect. And thankfully, she filled in that information. And it made that process so much smoother. This legacy book captures all the information about an individual and their family. It captures information about all their family members, birth dates, addresses, contact information, names of the professionals they use in their lives, the accountant, the lawyer, the doctors, the dentist, the estate planning attorney. Do they have a living will or a trust, a medical and financial power of attorney, and where those documents are? Who's the trustee or executor on their estate, and what's their contact information? Who's the power of attorney, the property manager if they own property, their pastor, the church they attend, their insurance agent, their financial advisor, and all of that information. Details about their past work history and current occupation or companies they've worked for in the past. The legacy book captures information about their retirement accounts, their investments, and all their banking information, life insurance policies, family medical history. Is there a safe deposit box, and where are the keys? And what bank is it at? Details such as passwords and login information to a variety of electronics, their computer and even social media. Credit card information, loans that were taken out and loans that were given out. It drills into funeral planning. What type of funeral does the individual want? Who should attend? Who's the pastor? What do they want the obituary to say? What music should be played? And so much more. It's all those little details that no one ever thinks about until it's too late. And that's what the legacy book is about. Making sure the people in your life are prepared when you do in fact pass away. And I can't tell you how important it is to get all of this information in one centralized location, such as this book. I actually sell this book on Amazon for, I think, just over $15. But I finally decided to give it away for free because I think it's that important to people. So just click the link below and download your own copy. Well, I hope this is useful, and I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you take advantage of this free offer because it really could make your family's life so much better and so much more confident going forward. With that, don't forget to ring the bell below and subscribe to this channel, and please leave a comment. I'd love to hear what people are thinking because it helps me create new content going forward. I will say I'm super excited to announce my new online program titled Thrive Path, your solution to financial freedom and peace of mind. This program, this 5-element journey I take you on is not only designed to transform your financial life, but it's designed to transform your entire life forever. So stay tuned, more to come on that. Super excited about that. All right, until next time, upward and onward, take care.